you want to squeeze in, you can. Up to you. All right, 15 minutes. We'll give you last question this time, I promise.
Okay.
We have it.
He was like, what was that for?
Where do I look?
Look in this general direction.
Could you tell me about working with Spike Lee again after so many movies, and how do you keep the collaboration fresh each time?
This was my 6th Spike Lee joint, but it had been almost 17 years since the last time we worked together. Actually, no, we did a commercial in between somewhere. But, you know, the thing about Spike is he's really collaborative. And he really wants input. I remember one, I forget which movie it was, Clockers. I showed up on the set and I said, I rewrote the whole scene, Spike. He goes, okay, I'll see it when we rehearse. Like, he didn't say, what do you mean? You know, let's look at it. And then he was, you know, then I went, I did the scene. He was like, all right, keep everything except the second line and then use the original. And that was it. But, I mean, it's really what you want to bring. And then he really tries to cast people who are going to bring a lot. And he encourages that. And the great thing is you rehearse. It's a lot of directors don't rehearse before production starts. I mean, I flew to New Orleans a month before I worked. And I rehearsed for a couple of days. I mean, the other actors were there. I think Josh was there much longer. But go through the dialogue, see what works, what comes out of your mouth in a good way, what else you want to add, flesh things through, and it's a very collaborative process. And I think for something like this, that's really kind of a genre film. It's not a movie you would associate with Spike Lee. He's such a very character-driven kind of director, but to have those two things operating at the same time, I think is really interesting.
How much background did you have on Old Boy itself? Just the iconic status of the movie, the fact that you were remaking a beloved series, you know, thing, if you will. So, I mean, how did you feel? Did you have like a particular understanding that okay, I have to really throw this out the park, like anything?
Well, hopefully you always want to throw it and get it out.
Yeah.
I think if you don't think that, then you're in trouble. But I didn't see the original, so which I was happy I did, because I like to approach things without any preconceptions or any other ideas. So for me, it wasn't, you know, I just got the script, which I read and was shocked by, you know, the ending was just so bizarre and unexpected, but a really entertaining script. Mark is a rare screenwriter because his screenplays kind of read like almost like novels. Like the stage directions aren't just like technical kind of informative things. He's very artful in the way he writes his screenplays. So they're really enjoyable reads. It's one of the I think the most enjoyable read I've ever had. I read a lot of scripts, but he really makes it fun. So I was really impressed. I got him. It was really funny because Mike called me last September or something. He said, "Mike, what's up? We're working together again. I'm so excited." I said, "What?" He goes, "We're doing the movie." Oh, I said, "Spike." I said, what are you saying? Old Boy, you're playing Josh's friend. I'm like, he goes, "Your agent didn't tell you?" I said, "No." I said, "Look, Spike, I'm really happy, but I don't know what you're talking about." He goes, "I'm remaking Old Boy with Josh Brolin. And then, sure enough, I called my agent. I said, "Oh yeah, well the deal isn't finished yet, but you know, obviously you're going to make a deal because it's Spike." So they just assumed that it had happened. But it's a great phone call to get.
That's awesome.
It was pretty funny. I thought maybe he was making a mistake. I said, "No." But yeah, it's good. It's and to just see how he's grown as an artist, and I think he's someone who really always I admire a lot, because he's always done what he wanted to do. He's always done what he wanted. It was never, well, let me do this so then I can do my personal, you know, baby, you know, my close to my heart. It's like not many filmmakers have been able to do that, and over such a long period of time, and so many movies. And then you add documentaries and music videos and commercials and stuff. It's, you know, his output is pretty incredible, prolific, and it always feels like, you know, even when he's doing a heist film or something, there's a flavor, there's that Spike Lee feel to it, and it's distinctive.
And he brings that to Old Boy?
Yeah, in a very interesting way, because, like, you know, like I said, it's not something you immediately associate with as graphic novels or a certain kind of genre, but he embraced that aspect of it, and there's a real cool visual style and sense that he brought to this. And then you have the whole character-driven, you know, he's such an actor's director, and improvisation we bring in and things like that. In that type of genre, you don't often get. So that's pretty cool.
Speaking on that, you said you hadn't seen the original. I haven't seen the original either. But also that Spike Lee, usually, even in a movie like Inside Man, there's like an underlying message in it, or 25th Hour. You know, there was more of a message than just, you know, just being a genre piece, like Inside Man being a bank robbery. Is there, like I said, I haven't seen the original Old Boy. So is there something that he brings, like, is there an underlying message or theme?
Yeah, I think it's about karma. I think it's about cause and effect, and, you know, what goes around comes around, and to me, that's my take on it. I mean, I don't know if Mark has a different idea or Spike Lee, but it's just my take on it.
You mentioned the rehearsal process. When you started production, did you find that you stayed pretty true to what you did in rehearsal, or is there still collaboration going on even once production started?
There's still a little bit, but, you know, the rehearsal, you can really open it up.
Yeah.
And then you try to, you know, nail it down, so you don't want to go... It's a little bit tricky when you're being really exacting visually to just kind of, you know, open it up on the set. But there's still room. But most of that was done in the rehearsal.
While on set, did you get a sense that
Yeah, I think he really embraced the visual aspect of this. I mean, and he's done that. There's always a visual flair to his movies, but I think he took it to another level because of this material. You know, because it was a graphic novel, and there is still that feel to it. I think he honored that in a really good way.
Did you get to be in the famous tracking shot this time?
Yeah, I love that shot. I love that shot.
I wasn't in the famous one, but I'm hearing good things about it. I haven't seen the whole movie. I've only seen I did ADR, so I saw some of my stuff, but I'll see it on the 11th, November 11th. There was some screenings in LA, but I was shooting something, so I couldn't.
I think a friend of mine saw it and said it's fantastic.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, the stuff that I saw Josh doing blew me away. I mean, the way he was approaching it, and man, Elizabeth Olsen, I had never seen her work. She really impressed me. She's a great actress. And really good to work with, so those two have pretty, the major role. Oh, and then Charlton, who also was amazing. But I think, I'm sure it's going to be great.
What, if any, did you watch or read to get into character for the movie, like to prep yourself for the role?
Well, I didn't really have to read anything. I mean, I play a guy who. We went to school. We're school buddies. We've been friends our whole lives, since childhood. And now I own and operate a bar, which at one time I owned and operated a bar, so I have that done. Dealing with drunks and serving people and all that kind of stuff. So that wasn't a thing. My thing was really just and why the rehearsal was so good is that Josh and I got to spend some time together. We were in New Orleans. We went out. we hung out, and I wanted that friendship to have some kind of, wasn't just showing up the day of, shaking hands and hello, and let's be best friends. It was like we had some fun. We went into the casino and we won. We both won money playing blackjack.
Nice.
We were playing side by side, and we walked in 15 minutes. We both won like a stack of chips and walked out. So we had that kind of. That was a good. That was the first time we went out. So that was my thing. Was to really just be his friend, and because that's really my function, is to help him get his life back, figure out what happened. So my work was really just creating that kind of bond.
Do you have time for one more question?
All right,
That's cool.
Going into a Spike Lee film, especially this one specifically, because of the background that because of the fan base that it had, did you feel any more pressure than you normally do? Obviously, you always want to be great. You always want to do your best. Did you feel any more? Was there anything going on with that, or you just kind of put your head down and do your work?
No. I mean, there's enough pressure working with great people. And wanting to be on their level. So that's inspirational. And working with Spike is a big inspiration. He was the first time I worked with him was Jungle Fever, and he said we'll work together again. And I've heard that many times, but he was the only person that actually made good on it. And if you the other thing about this guy is that you have to see. There's like a whole school of filmmaking and filmmakers that came up under him. Like a lot of people that start out as PAs and assistants, this and that, he kind of brought them up through his system and gave them, DP, became DPs and became head of departments, and actors who did the same thing. People starting with small parts and unknown, and give them another part, another movie, and there's a whole network of people particularly in New York, obviously, that came up through the Spike Lee school. Man. I'm one of them, and that's big.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you, man.
Enjoyed that.